Steel is freaking awesome and you know it.
Yeah, maybe for blood-hungry psychopaths, but for those of us who love an American icon, it's bullshit!
This is a new kind of Superman critic. He's obviously not the one we grew up with.
Yeah, that one made sense!
What, time traveling? Flying around the world?
Mostly made sense.
You just can't accept the fact that this is something new. And while we all know that the first two films are legendary, it's time for a different way of looking at this story that's been told 1,000 times the same way.
When Man of Steel was announced, I got excited. And then when the trailers came out, it looked f***ing awesome. And then I watched it, and it was like, holy shit, this isn't even a Superman movie. I mean, he destroys Metropolis. He murders Zod. And they just ripped off every movie. Went from Terrence Malick to The Avengers to The Matrix. If you want to rip off a movie, why don't you rip off Superman? Christ!
With Man of Steel, my only explanation for why some critics didn't like this film, all I can think is that perhaps their heads were so far up their asses that they couldn't see the movie screen. And that's the only thing I've got. And let me give this preface. Anything I say or Clark says or Schnepp says, we're going to talk about terms like that, like say, you're an idiot if you didn't like this. Everything is in the context of all film is subjective.
Sometimes it's hard to even figure out how to start these.
Yeah.
That's a good way to start it. Hello. Welcome, everyone, again to our Movie Marks News. April Part 2?
Yeah, I guess so.
We could call it May, because by the time it gets out, it might be May.
Right, yeah.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. So we're going to talk about some things that happen in the movie world, and we're going to have a little bit of a rebuttal on one of our previous podcasts. We have the Ruby Thursday.
Yes, not quite as good as Ruby Tuesday. Wait, that was
no.
Damn.
All right, fuck it.
Yeah.
The whole segment was something about Ruby Tuesday and TGF Friday.
Yeah.
But he's Ruby Thursday.
Yeah.
All right, fuck it. Here comes Nick. It's Nick. There we go.
Yeah.
I'll take Ruby Thursday. I'm down with that.
Yeah.
Yes, we have a different guest on for Movie Marks News this time, specifically for the rebuttal. And
That I totally forgot to pay attention to, and so I'm gonna wing.
Yeah, if you haven't checked it out before,
That's what he says now, but he knows he's got to go down.
Oh yeah. If you haven't checked it out before, make sure you check out our Superman rant. We have it specifically cut out on YouTube, but it's also a part of episode 38.
Somewhere around there.
Yes.
Download 30 to 40, and you'll find it.
Yes, it's in there. Please download all of this.
Oh shit, 74. Oh dang.
Oh man, when we get up there, that'll be
Back of day.
we'll be tired by then.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this shit happened. I don't know why.
Yeah. I don't know why we're still doing this.
Batman vs Superman 8 was just not meeting up to the standards.
Superman's still bitching about everything and can't be happy anymore.
And that's our perfect segue.
Nick is here to kind of give a little bit of a small rebuttal. At the end of our last episode, I said some Marvel jackass had to come in here and ruin the fun. So,
That's what I do.
So, predominantly, Nick does prefer the Marvel movies over the DC movies. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to speak for you. You speak for yourself.
Well, yes,
You are sitting right here, so go ahead.
I appreciate that, yes. I do definitely, I would say that I definitely prefer the Marvel movies over the DC movies. With that said, though, I mean, I like a lot of the older DC movies. I love Burton's Batman. I love Batman Returns. I love the original Christopher Reeve Superman 1 and 2. 3 gets kind of weird, but you know, it's still kind of fun. You
Yes.
know,
Still nostalgic.
Richard Pryor being kind of weird.
Right.
It's fine.
Tar and the Kryptonite.
Exactly. You know, and
Turns him bad.
and Nuclear Man's magic fingernails and stuff.
Superman 4 was my shit as a kid.
Emphasis on the shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think recently I would definitely say that I'm more swinging to liking Marvel. But again, that's not to say that I don't think that Marvel can do better. I think obviously there's Iron Man 2 is kind of fleeting
3.
in terms of. So I can't hear you over how Mandarin's actually a good character. What?
Yeah, and fuck Collider. Oh, Trevor's the second best villain in the MCU. Go fuck yourself.
I'm losing so much faith in Collider. I don't know why I started following them on social media, because every article I'm like, you gotta be shitting me.
That's the point.
Another rant.
That's the point.
Yeah, I guess so.
It's okay.
And we're talking about them.
The best Marvel villain isn't even in the movies, so it's Kingpin, hands down.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say it's Iron Man.
he very much is. He
Causes all the problems in the MCU.
yeah, that's very
Pretty
true.
much.
Absolutely.
He created Vulture.
Yeah,
He's gonna create Vulture, and that's what
probably.
they're setting it up in this
Oh, it doesn't
damn
surprise me. Doesn't surprise
Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
The good one.
Ultron.
Stark stands on people like us. No, I'm bad. No. I'm gonna kill your family because Stark's a dickhead. No.
That makes sense.
That's what happens in the movies.
Exactly.
I filled out the whole Spider-Man Homecoming movie. You do not need to see it now.
Save the $10 or whatever it is in your town.
45.
All right, back to the rant.
Anyways,
$45.
40.
Wow, we're getting there.
hey, give it a couple years. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, I've definitely been enjoying the MCU lately. I know you guys were talking about in the DC cinematic universe that is now kind of in response to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I talked a lot about this when we talked about Man of Steel and Batman Superman. Is just the way that they've been portraying Superman in the last two films. I think is in just very. Maybe like out of character, I guess would be the best way I can describe it, is that we're talking about a character who has had, I think, again, I kind of feel like I'm repeating myself a little bit, but has had 80 years essentially of...
No one listened before, so you're fine.
Oh, perfect. That sounds about right. That's essentially about 80 to 90 years of continuity of like describing this character. And I'm okay with Superman going and doing different things. I mean, I'm actually super excited about the new Injustice video game coming out where he's like crazy gonna kill everybody kind of stuff. But my...
What the fuck?
I'm okay with that because it sets it up in that world. But my problem is that, I don't know, maybe this is just because we've been, for lack of a better term, spoiled with Marvel, which I think we have been. If we're gonna be totally honest, like,
yes,
if you look at, because I've been watching superhero movies, you know, since they've been coming out. If you look at superhero movies like pre-Iron Man and post-Iron Man, there's like a huge like change in terms of like this, the way that they're like the way they're produced and the way that they're kind of expressed to the community. And so like I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the original Batman, I love Batman Returns, we did Constantine a while back, which I think actually, did that come out after Iron Man? I don't think.
No, it came out before.
Right before. Yeah, it was like right before. It's the year before. If you look at those movies, there's a lot of things that kind of don't work, I guess, or don't hold up as well.
Before
Iron Man. But I think before Iron Man. But I think once Iron Man really kicked in, I think it created this, again, the continuity, the MCU, this whole like connected universe thing that I feel that DC is coming a little late to the party to, and hasn't really taken the time to establish. And I think that's the main problem I have with, especially with Batman v Superman. I mean, Man of Steel kind of was its own entity. It really was. Like, there's not that much really continuity in Batman Superman. It's just the Wayne satellite and the Lex Luthor building.
Yeah, there's a lot of Easter eggs in Man of Steel.
Yeah.
They kind of at least tell you for the first time, hey, he's out there. Yeah. You know, and that's kind of, it's the same thing for Iron Man.
It's not little subtle things, you know, in the introduction of S.H.I.E.L.D. and things like that in Iron Man.
Right.
But it makes such a huge leap in Batman v Superman that, again, Superman's character doesn't have time to build and doesn't have time to actually make those changes, I feel. And as a result, I just feel so, again, I know, talking about the after credits thing, I just briefly listened to it. You know, it just doesn't feel like it, I guess this is going to sound a little like condescending, but it didn't feel like it earned it. Like, it didn't feel like it allowed for that kind of growth. Whereas with like the Avengers, you're talking about 4 or 5 movies before even showing up to the Avengers. And then what they're doing now is just adding. And so I know that Marvel has like essentially like a 6-year head start essentially, and I know they're trying to play catch up.
Right.
But the character of Superman in those movies hasn't had a lot of time to really establish that this is who he is, that he's not the Superman we've had before. And so it just seems very out of place to me. It just feels like, it doesn't feel like Superman. Like, it just genuinely, watching Man of Steel and watching Batman Superman, it does not feel like Superman.
Yeah, and I guess that's the big disconnect, and that's one thing that, you know, Matt and I touched on in our rant, was that's what we enjoy. That's what I enjoy, is that it's not the classic Superman, because there's a ton of a ton of graphic novels. I actually had to look it up while you were talking, but one of them was All-Star Superman.
Oh yeah, All-Star Superman's
And,
great.
Yeah, but that's kind of what we have. Someone who's thinking a little bit deeper in, and I love Christopher Reeve. There's so much nostalgia in Christopher Reeve as Superman, and there's no denying how great he is, and the tone that he set for all the actors moving forward of kind of this is what you have to replicate, and then you've seen it in Brandon Routh, Dean Cain,
Dean Cain.
I
It's fun.
It
Lois
is.
and Clark was fun.
Yes,
it
it
dumb,
is.
but it was fun.
It is, yeah. It is. It's one of those things, it is what it is, especially for a '90s TV show. But there's a lot of people. Even I can't think of his name, Tyler
Perry.
Hoechlin, Tyler Perry. No,
Medea goes to Krypton.
right. But the newest Superman, that's been shown in Supergirl, they are all the same. They've all, and that's, to me, that's who George Reeves and Christopher Reeves kind of established who Superman is.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, they've never deviated from that, because in the comics, there's a lot of different interpretations and graphic novels of who Superman is, and it's not drastic, but there's certain ones that get deeper in who he is and how he's trying to figure out himself. When they did Earth One is another great thing, which actually I think you got me for my birthday,
Probably.
and I freaking I love those, and they're deeper and actually getting into the core of the character himself. I will agree with you in that when he died, I can see why
Spoiler.
they did it. And, yeah, yeah.
It's okay, you don't need to see the movie, it's fine.
I was gonna say it was spoilers as soon as they showed the trailer, and I think that's honestly that's where I felt robbed, is the reaction that I had to Logan dying. It was so, because you didn't really think that they would even consider that, but as soon as I saw Doomsday in the trailer, I knew, he's dying.
That's gonna happen.
Yeah, and there's no way you show Doomsday and he doesn't die. So I would agree with you on that. If I maybe think that if they didn't show Doomsday, and that was a surprise in the movie, and then you would go,
that would have made more
holy
sense.
shit, they're gonna kill Superman? No way, second movie. And then maybe that would change, kind of like what you're talking about, how it would make you feel like he earned it a little bit more. And I get, you need a little bit more movies to develop, but a lot of people, like, who Superman is, who Batman is, and there has to be a reason that they all come together. Same thing, just Marvel did it a different way.
Yeah.
And I'm enjoying kind of the different take. I don't want a systematic formula that unfortunately Marvel has followed too far for me. Of how a movie goes. But anyways, swinging back to Superman, and that's where I guess the different interpretations of if he's mopey or not is kind of based on who you see as Superman. And I've watched a ton of YouTube videos where, like, there's hardcore Superman fans, and if it's not Christopher Reeve's version, played by someone else, then that's not Superman to them. And that's fair, but to me, I've read all these different graphic novels and stuff, and there are different takes on the same character, where it's the core, and and then Zack Snyder and David Goyer just presented with another one, in my opinion.
Yeah, they definitely fast-tracked this thing because of Marvel in some situations. They did do that, but like you just said, there has been plenty of iterations of Batman and Superman, and it kind of feels like at this point we don't need a retelling, just like what Marvel did with Spider-Man in Civil War. We didn't get a retelling, we got just introduced to the character. Hey,
Spider-Man go.
We all know Spider-Man, we love Spider-Man, and he got introduced into the MCU fairly quickly,
Right.
with no backstory. Homecoming may have a couple flashbacks and stuff like that, but he's Spider-Man. If we get the whole if we get the Uncle Ben, if we get any Uncle Ben scenes, it's going to be like flashbacks in this, because we've already established there's Spider-Man. Yeah. He's got a costume and whatever bullshit like that. Yeah. So I felt like they had the advantage of that, of that there's been so many different versions. So we don't need to retell those same stories again. Right. They may have taken advantage and tried to put out a Wonder Woman movie before this. I think that could have helped a little bit. Yeah.
She didn't do anything in the movie. Again, I have no problem with. I like the idea of Wonder Woman, but she didn't really.
Well,
except she punched Doomsday.
Yeah, exactly. She played the part she
played the Spider-Man
supposed to.
Yeah, she played the Spider-Man role. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I understand. All right.
Yeah. So if they had that a little bit before BVS, then maybe it would have helped it out, establish it a little bit of a universe a little bit more, because all we had was Man of Steel. So there was no real universe built other than what he said. There was a satellite,
right?
And a couple trucks.
And
a couple trucks
and IHOP.
7-Eleven,
IHOP,
Sears,
Slurpee,
U-Haul.
yeah, U-Haul,
Oh, those are classics.
Marlboro. Oh wait, no, that's Superman 2.
Oh, I thought that was the Flintstones. No, that was Winston cigarettes. That's right.
Yeah.
But one of the question was really is why is this one mopey?
And that's sorry if you're gonna say something.
No, that was you.
That was okay. That was good.
That was a cue up for you. my
Okay,
friend.
like
Come on, Stilt Man.
got my legs. We already have that character, and that character is Martian Manhunter. Okay, Martian Manhunter by definition is the mopey alien on Earth who's lost everything and is trying to find his way. And I love the Justice League. Like straight up, like Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, like the cartoons that came out in the early 2000s are like some of my favorite cartoons, period. I hate Martian Manhunter because every time he's on screen, it's like I want to just punch myself in the face. because it's that mopey. Like if I have someone sad, that's fine. You can have tragedies. You can have deep rooted understanding things. You can have things that require a lot of emotional depth. You have to offset that with something though. If that's all it is, you're watching Schindler's List. And I'm sorry, I've seen Schindler's List once. I am never going to watch that film again. It is an amazing film. Like,
Yeah.
I love that film.
Like Man of Steel.
Like, with
It's an amazing film. I just only watched it once.
but I will, and I think that's the problem I have with the Superman in the DC cinematic universe is that it doesn't make me want to come back. It doesn't make me want to like learn more about him or figure things out. Batman has been established forever as that kind of broody character. And so I have come to terms with that. Superman gets introduced as this broody character after spending, like we said, 90 years doing something different. I'm totally fine with mixing things up. I also know that when we mix things up, it can go really, really well, like Earth 1, Injustice. It can go really, really bad, like mullet Superman after the death of Superman.
I love that.
Okay. I want a mullet in Justice
Yes,
League.
I do
Okay.
too.
No, hell my
League
god.
mullet. Justice League mullet.
Justice League mullet.
Or the the I'm trying to think of the one where he comes out and he's wearing like a he's like they rejuvenate him. It's a comic book and what is it? He has like a huge like giant beard and he's all scraggly. He has a giant gun and it's like
Oh yeah,
Is that where he gets teleported?
no, it's like
And he's
Superman
like, I can't even-
at World's End or something like that. Or,
Yeah.
or Superman of something world. I don't know. It's
Right.
DC has all their worlds. who
yeah.
knows? Flash of 17 worlds. Yeah.
Right.
And I guess that it can be done really well. Like I said, the Injustice, the old ones, and it can be done really badly.
Mhm.
And I think that the one that's been introduced into the DC cinematic universe, I just like I said, I don't want to learn about him. I don't want to spend more time with him. I just feel like every time he comes on stage or on screen, I guess, it's. I would love it if he said "ta-da." I'd laugh at that. That'd be fantastic.
Good vibrations.
Exactly. Get some Beast Boys going on here. I'm down with that. I don't want to see more.
Mhm.
And that's what makes me really sad about the DC universe is I want that to be great. I genuinely do. I'm hoping, God, fingers crossed that Wonder Woman and Justice League are good. I really am hoping. Listen to you guys talking, like kind of, I know I've texted you guys about, a Cyborg looking all weird and shit.
Yeah.
And,
We've talked about that too.
Exactly, yes. I want this to be good. I want everything that's superhero to be good. I also know that there's Fantastic Four that came out like a year and a half ago. That is
Right.
garbage Marvel. I know that X-Men Apocalypse, we talked about that last year, that it
Yeah.
was like, this is a garbage film. And it's like, both sides can be having good stuff and both sides can be doing awful things. And it's like,
Right.
and so all I want for Superman is I want Superman to succeed. I want him to. And I feel like just on the general scope of what he's doing now, if he's going down that same road, because he's already dead, he's going to come back. We know he is.
Yeah.
I
think what's
Maybe.
not to cut. Yeah, he is not in Justice League. We don't know.
God. Okay. When you see the things floating in his coffin,
We don't know what that could be.
Yes. Could
Yes,
be
we
anything.
do.
It could be somebody coming to steal the body. I heard that.
Yeah.
Boom tube.
Yes, that would be
Stealing the
awesome.
body.
I was so.
He's still gonna come back. You know this.
I might be
Superman.
one of the only people who was mad
know.
that out of all the the pop figures that came out, did you see those for Justice League? Oh, so they're making Justice League
Of course
pop
they were.
figures.
They had a casket pop.
I wish. I fucking
With the
that
Superman
that would be
symbol on
that
the
would be better because it was Superman. I'm like, no, you're ruining it.
It'd be great if it was a casket.
Have you seen like actually some of the images, like all the ones that they did where, you know, like Batman had his big silver logo and, you know, there was a lot that was like changed up a little bit, and then someone did that where it was a casket, him in front of like the sunset and everything. That was awesome. But I hope that, you know, once he comes back, that we get what everyone else is hoping for, and you know what I guess how you interpret Superman. But for me, just quick another quick anecdote, I guess, was
Nothing's quick on this show.
Yes, sure.
Antidote or anecdote?
I meant anecdote.
Okay.
I was hoping no one caught that.
I focused on one thing.
Yeah, I definitely. I was like, I said anecdote.
Tearing Shane down.
We love you.
Anyways, so sideways triangle, but
Love potion number 9. Antidote. All right.
yeah.
Oh my shit.
Oh man. So you were talking about, you know, you already have Batman, who's he's a brooding character. We don't need Superman as, you know, as a brooding character. And for me, they're two different people who are
Exactly. They're the sorry, but
no, that's okay.
But the thing that Batman does is so much different than what Superman does. The what Superman is doing is questioning what he is.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't question whether or not he should be a bat. Batman questions whether or not he should actually kill or break the Joker's neck or something like that.
Right.
Like his questions, his brooding is so different. It's
Right.
just the Superman to me is so much more relatable in the fact that he has so much power and so much responsibility. Blah blah blah. Spider-Man, Uncle Ben shot. Okay, and so, but it's like, what do you do? Like, I love in the ultimate cut. If you saw the theatrical cut, you didn't know this part because Warner Brothers are fucking idiots.
Yeah.
But there is this great comment that was made about when they were talking about Superman. Is like, who does he determine who lives? You know, and they were going on about that. And then when it came to the sex trafficker guy's wife or baby mama and stuff like that, she was questioning, the bat determines who dies. And it was like, there was opposite spectrum of what's going on in the movie of Superman's taking his powers and in this situation is so serious. He's trying to save, for the most part, he's trying to save everybody. It's hard to say that after Man of Steel, but but for the most part,
So many times.
but he is trying to figure out who to save. What does he need to do as for responsibility? And on the other end, everybody's looking at Batman as this dude is pretty much determining who's going to die.
Yeah,
because of the whole bat logo and other
right.
bullshit.
Well, and
the guns
stuff.
and the machine guns,
even just Batman,
right,
and the machine and all that stuff.
Yeah,
even in the Batman that has been established in this universe, it's in such a microscopic and he has his own struggles, which I really enjoyed about this Batman. Of like, you know, what am I doing? He talks about the criminals are like weeds; they just keep popping up, and you know, he's like, what? I think that's why he gets to the point where he's like, fuck it, I'm just gonna start killing them. I don't know. Just machine gun him down. I'm really
Ortho and you're fucking done, bitch.
Yeah, exactly.
Kick a grenade right in the hallway.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I did love that in Batman and Superman because it was so corny when the bad guy in that hallway grabs the grenade and he goes, and he pulls it and he holds it like it's all action style, then throws it.
Right.
And then just Batman kicks it right back at him.
It's better than handing a bomb to a clown, you know, it blowing up. Or
sometimes you just can't get rid of a bomb.
Yeah, or that's even worse.
All those nuns and band members getting in the way.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So, I was talking about Batman.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. So Batman's different. His isn't on such a small level. He's talking about Gotham City, you know, and he's trying to solve crime there. And Superman is on like a world level of what am I doing on this planet? And you know, what role should I play? And he's doing the, you know, like you talked about, who the people are questioning, well, how does he determine who lives? And you know, and that they're saying, well, he can't get into political affairs and all these different things, and he's questioning the same thing. Like where's
so
where's my
real.
line?
That's
Yeah.
what would happen.
Right, exactly.
And why is that not relatable? I don't get it.
Deep breath. It's okay.
Oh, yeah.
Use some wise mind right now. We'll do a little session in here.
I guess kind of.
Used to be rum in this shit.
Yeah, I guess kind of on the opposite spectrum, and not to continually compare the two, but what we did talk about Captain America in the, I think it was the Man of Steel breakdown. You know, you said this is where Superman should have been, but what do you find so relatable, other than Captain America, I guess, about the Marvel characters that DC hasn't gotten to? Because for me, I'm getting to there are relatable elements, but there's so much that's just pulled away with all the jokes and stuff like that, and I can't feel the emotions. We were in a group text talking about Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy and how I should have felt sorry for him that his family was killed in front of him, and I didn't. I didn't care, and so there's certain things in Marvel where I'm like, man, there should be an emotional connection there, and it's not there. But as you're saying, and I think more people probably agree with you than they agree with us. So I'm just not seeing where the connection is with the Marvel characters. It's missing in DC, because to me, DC's doing a fantastic job.
Real quick though, let me throw in. It could be just because DC just started.
That could be part
because that's
of it.
what's there's been people talking about comic book fatigue, and I don't necessarily have comic book fatigue. I still want to see these, but I'm having character fatigue. Like when you're talking about that, when you're talking about what characters are relatable, the first thing that came to my mind was Tony Stark and Iron Man 1.
Yes,
I went back that far. I'm
right.
like, that Iron Man, yeah, because he was just a smart ass. You could just tell that he was kind of a silver spoon brat, and it's not necessarily relatable for us, but it's a character that I can oh yeah, he's just being a smart ass, and stuff like that, and it made sense. That humor made sense. So maybe because it was established so early on like that, and now like with Doctor Strange and a couple other movies and stuff like that, it's starting to wear on you, and you don't even notice the character elements anymore because you're focused so much on one thing. Maybe that's what it is that they've gone so far into it. Guardians of the Galaxy 2 is about to come out pretty soon. That's 15 movies in the MCU.
They've got some stuff under their feet. Yeah.
So they definitely need to, I think maybe it's just character fatigue in itself. And that's why maybe like Captain America and these other characters, and that's why maybe it's not that relatable or deep for us, I guess.
Yeah. And I think the relatable is the word there. And I'm not sure if I was talking to you guys or talking to my wife or what, but
same thing.
Yeah, probably. You're just so pretty.
Yes. Thank you. I just shaved my beard.
It didn't work.
I know. Stupid thing.
But I we were talking about how when I look at like the DC, like the Justice League, when I look at the Justice League characters, the Flash, I mean, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I think that because they have been, I guess, around for so long, just like the characters themselves, they've become almost like mythology. Like they've been like if you've ever read oh my god, Alex Ross, what is that book? Marvel's was the Marvel version and DC was Kingdom Come.
Yes.
Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come. If you read Kingdom Come, it feels like it's presented very much as like they are literally modern mythology. And I would argue that that's kind of what superheroes are. They are modern mythology that, if you were to go back, Superman is the Hercules, and Hades and all that stuff. And so when I look at like just the DC characters, like a lot of like the big ones, Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, I see them almost at mythological levels. Like they are bigger than people. Like their problems, if we're gonna be honest, are like massive problems, like Darkseid, Doomsday, these cataclysmic things. Now don't get me wrong, I know Marvel is now getting that spot, and I can agree with you that there can be definitely fatigue in that sense. But if you look at the original, like if we go back to a lot of the original Marvel movies, Tony Stark is flawed as hell. Like he is not a good person. Captain America is literally a scrawny ass little bitch. Okay. Thor, even being mythological, literally he is a god, but has to earn all that stuff back. I feel like those as just like the original, like, what's the not Act 1. It was stage 1 or
Phase 1.
Phase 1. Thank you. I knew the word was there and I couldn't get it. The Phase 1 Marvel movies, I think, set roots down that has allowed for them to grow to the level they are now. And yes, I can agree with you that there's a lot of them coming out. And I know that like I like Doctor Strange probably a lot more than you guys did, but I also can understand how someone could get the fatigue in that sense. But if you look at that original Phase 1 Iron Man, even Hulk to a degree, but that's kind of not so good. Thor and Captain America: First Avenger, before the Avengers came out, they were able to establish these flawed characters, these people who are not necessarily put together, like they're kind of a mess, and find a way to actually eventually bring them together into the Avengers.
I'm glad you said that. Don't you think that's where DC's at now?
I don't know.
They're establishing flawed characters that they are trying to figure out. You know, like
no.
Well, we don't know anything about Flash or Cyborg.
No,
or Aquaman.
No, but
other than what an email said,
you know that Flash is a loner,
right? He's a loner. He doesn't have friends. From what we're getting in the trailers,
yeah,
and, which is very little.
But we're
early. You guys are early.
Early stages, yeah.
And again, I think that's part of what really worries me about, honestly, Justice League, is that if you look at the jump from like the original Phase 1 movies into Avengers, the only character that really hadn't been introduced was Hawkeye. Like, he was the only one that I'm pretty sure, I think if memory serves me right, he's the only one who had not at least had some kind of basis understanding.
Sure.
Because
I
think
in Thor.
You're right.
Yeah, and even then, it was like literally like a 30-second, like, can I shoot him? Okay, I don't, and put it down. Like, there was no character there. Whereas
Black Widow got her set up in Iron Man 2.
Got Iron Man 2, and the Iron Man Thor.
She was in Incredible Hulk too, right? No,
she wasn't in Hulk. Hulk had a tiny bit of Iron Man in it. But you had Iron Man, Thor, Hulk, Captain America: First Avenger, Black Widow, Nick Fury was in Iron Man 2 a lot.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so like you had all these people who were being figured out and established, so that when the Avengers finally came, it felt like, okay, we just spent the last like 3 years, 4 years, probably actually I think longer than that, from Iron Man to Avengers, I think it was 5 years. You had that time to develop that, so that those flaws became like, okay, they culminated in, okay, now, put the suit on, the stuff that Captain America says in Avengers, where it's like, okay, this has been established over, these characters have been established. Whereas again, with Superman and Batman, they kind of just, I don't like you. Okay, let's punch each other. And it's just and
I guess that's
to kind of make
the interpretation.
Yeah, to kind of I know that we went into super detail about Civil War when that came out, and I know there was similar. Your guys is like as Matt's having an aneurysm over here.
So that's basically Civil War. I don't like you. I don't like you. We have differences.
But we've had more time to set that up that I don't like you.
Exactly, and that's the, I know we're making jokes of it, but that's the relatability, is that we've had time, and I think time is something that Superman and Batman haven't given us. And it's not to say that they won't. It's not to say that they can't with Justice League or with any upcoming Superman movies, but I just haven't had that level of, I think, connectability. And I think that if you look at the Phase 1 Marvel movies, each character like definitively feels different. Captain America is totally different than Iron Man. You know that Iron Man and Captain America are way different than Thor.
Right.
And even the Hulk. Like, they are like it's like completely like sporadic. So, so when they come together, it's like, wow, we have totally weird, different people all coming together. Whereas Batman and Superman, yes, they do have different kind of focuses with their brooding, but ultimately they're still just brooding, and they seem like very similar. It's like,
I guess
you know your frustration with Iron Man and Doctor Strange. Okay, that's how I feel with Batman and Superman.
Okay,
because they seem so, yes, they have their own different kind of focuses, but they seem so similar that I don't see that like dichotomy of different like ideologies. I guess that really, if we know the history of Batman and Superman, they do have different ideologies.
Yeah,
it's the hope and the always doing the right thing versus like making the right choice, which might be sometimes not the right thing to do.
Yeah, I guess I see what you're saying, and I agree with it to an extent. We, like I said, we are still pretty early in the DC universe. But I like for me, and then this will kind of be the last of it, I guess. I like where,
wrap this shit up.
and then we can talk about Thor.
Yes,
I got a lot to talk about. No, I'm just kidding. But for me, I like that they do still have two different ideologies, as far as what they're figuring out, and there's a little bit of overlap, and I guess that's where most people are focusing on the brooding. And it comes across depressing, even though to me, there's such a strong connection with each of those people, and it's almost like a reflection of my personal beliefs in the current world. And I'm just seeing these same, like with Batman. I'm a way bigger Superman fan than I am of Batman, but I can completely understand when he says the line about the, criminals are like thieves or weeds. Sorry, criminals are like thieves.
Thieves are criminals.
Yes, but criminals are like weeds, because that's what I feel like in society in general is you just get frustrated. And if Batman lived here and and was in the real world, he'd probably be like, fuck, what am I doing? Like, I'm not doing anything. I'm beating the shit out of all these people, sending them to jail, and nothing is happening. And that is my real world frustration. And then you kind of have the same thing with Superman of like where if he was in today's world and the all the political stuff that's
climate,
that's just it is so torn in the real world, and you plop Superman down in it, and he has these same, like, that's where I'm connecting. That's the level of thinking, where he's like, okay, well, what role do I play? I'm this god to all these people, and what do I do? Kind of thing. And I just couldn't imagine someone with all that power. We talk about the president of the United States having all this power and deciding what to do. What about what about a god, who can do something, and it's up to him to decide whose side he's on. And that I guess that's where my connection is. And I have brief connections with the Marvel characters, but it's not as deep. It's not like a emotional connection where I'm like, man, that's my boy, or something. It's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, that's cool. And
My
like,
boy Blue.
yeah, like Matt had touched on, with Iron Man, that there's some humor, and you kind of get why he's there, but there's not a connection to him. And I have a lot of gripes about like Captain America's role as far as in Civil War and his decisions and stuff like that, which we'll get into at a different time. But that's why I guess the connections are different.
So my final words.
Yes.
I'm gonna sit down. My final thoughts.
Yes, Jerry
My
Springer.
Jerry Springer style. My final, God, classic. But basically, to kind of not necessarily echo what Shane said, I'm gonna go on a little bit different here. BVS, Batman versus Superman and Man of Steel had issues. BVS more than Man of Steel, but to me, those issues were not Superman related. Mm-hmm. They were other issues. They were Lex Luthor-ish issues, and there was some other, depending on how you look at it through the theatrical cut or the ultimate cut. I mean, through the ultimate cut, it's cleaned up a little bit more, but there's other issues. There's rushing issues in that movie, and there's, like I said, Lex Luthor issues and stuff like that. But to me, Batman, the character itself, I think they're building up to that moment where
Superman.
Did I say Batman?
Yeah.
Fuck Batman. All right. When they're talking about with the Superman moment, what they did with this, even though they did rush into the death of Superman, I do feel like we could be wrong. We could be completely wrong on this. And he could be that same character. He could be the same one-dimensional guy through the rest of the movies forever. I don't know. But I feel like they're going to build up to this moment where he comes back, and when he has a mullet, he's going to be what everybody expects him to be. He's going to pull up in his pickup truck.
Space pickup truck.
Smash awesome. A couple Coors Lights.
No, I want to see Lobo. That would be awesome.
I was going to say, Lobo behind him.
Yeah, Lobo towing his truck.
That's exactly where
I would love to see Lobo.
That's exactly where my mind went, too.
I think we will eventually get to that, but I think there had to be a lot of questions asked and a lot of things answered first before we got to that Superman. Because remember, he's still young.
Right.
This isn't a Superman that's so established. They started off with him not even being Superman and just being some homeless bum idiot that's mooching off everybody and stealing people's clothes and shit.
Yeah, that's one of my biggest gripes. No, well, and if you listen to a lot of the interviews, which people won't and don't as much as we do, but like with Zack Snyder, he talks about that. He talks that there has to be an established, this is where we want to start so we can get to Z. And then same thing, that he had a reason to kill off Superman so that
he didn't have to write for him anymore.
For the Justice League to come around, and there's reasons why he's establishing it the way that he is. So,
all right, Nixter, Stiltman.
Final thoughts.
Ruby Thursday.
I just Convict King.
Asbestos lady.
Snowflame, right?
Snowflame. Yeah.
Oh, Snowflame! What a mess.
For only one issue.
Again, here's my prediction. Okay, and I'm gonna put this out here for when it happens.
We are gonna hold them to this.
This is my get mad at me future spoiler if this happens. Infinity War. Okay, Captain America's gonna die. Okay, that is my stamp, and then they're gonna bring him back with the time gem for the second movie, and he's gonna wield Mjolnir. That is I'm putting this little personal thing there.
Okay.
The reason I'm saying this though is when Superman dies in 2 movies, I feel like 15 movies of Captain America is going to have a way bigger punch and a way bigger emotional connection than I think Superman did.
Maybe.
And
Logan had 2 shitty movies, and the connection that I had when he died.
Logan's a perfect example. Logan didn't have 2 shitty movies.
Oh, spoilers for Logan.
Yeah.
You brought this up like 20 minutes ago. So
Yeah,
you didn't
I
say
did,
anything.
that's
No, but no,
Spoiler for 20 minutes ago.
Logan had X-Men 1, 2, 3.
Oh yeah, that's
Origins,
okay, that's fair.
The Wolverine. Which, side note, I want to get this real quick on the record.
Oh, that's right.
Okay, we were originally supposed to have me watch Wolverine Origins and the Wolverine, and have me come in, but we got busy and stuff, and I was so upset because I watched Origins. That movie, I had not seen this at the theater. I made a point to not watch it.
Right.
I had to get drunk to watch it, and then we're like, I guess we're not going to talk about it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
damn it!
I'm like, it's been so long.
It's torture.
Oh God. What are these claws?
Yep.
Ting, ting, ting. Oh my God, are we so bad? But so terrible.
So real quick, I found the text message between Shane and I because we were talking about what we could do. And Shane said about the movie news, but that would mean we watched Wolverine for nothing. And I didn't. I didn't watch
son
it.
of a bitch.
And he put LOL. Nick did.
Yay, God, damn, whoa, so bad. But
I felt
Logan,
so smart.
no, Logan had 8 films.
Yeah. Okay. I can
The original
see that,
3,
right.
Origins, Wolverine. He little cameo in First Class, Apocalypse, where he shouldn't even have been there, Days of Future Past, and then Logan. So he had 9 films. So his death, like that perfect example, his death resonated.
Right.
Like I bawled like a baby with that at the end of the movie. I was like, it was bad.
Yeah.
But because we had so much time to establish that, whereas Superman literally dying in the second movie, just like, oh, he died. Oh, darn. Like, I was sad, but whatever.
Yeah.
Like I said, again, this is my thing, when Cap goes. Because eventually, again, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans and all of them are going to slowly contract out. I know they're saying probably after the second Infinity War movie.
Right.
I'm calling that Cap's going to die because that's kind of what his character does in Civil War.
Yeah.
That's why I was actually surprised he didn't die in Civil War. But I'm going to
Maybe that would have made the movie better, but
can't improve on perfection. But I think that's something that when it does happen, I think that's going to be, I think it's gonna show how different, maybe just public perception, or just how much we've invested in, how much that's going to change.
yeah.
Because again,
That's fair.
yeah.
I can see that.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna put it out there. I apologize to anybody listening to this who's gonna be like, no. He says, yeah, that's gonna be my little prediction. But when that does happen, because I'm assuming it's going to eventually, I feel like that's gonna have much more resonance than I think Superman.